is a gorgeous afternoon for our virtual happy hour presented by Bud Light Seltzer. Julie Donaldson here with you. The very first day of the team being pads is in the books, which means we are that much closer to football coming back. We are excited to tell you what was going on today. So for this happy hour, I am going to be bringing in our Washington football team insider, Kyle Stackpole. Kyle, we were up here doing the show with Santana Moss. You were down there getting a close look at the team in pads for the first time. So we're going to get to that. But also, a very important thing that we also have been going on here as we do start a tab is talking about the journey update. We want to make sure fans are included and involved. I want to get your thoughts on this. One fan here, Bryce from Phoenix, Arizona, says naming your team the Washington football team is one of the greatest alpha moves done by a sports franchise in history. If you desire to dominate your opponents, I don't think you could get any better than this. It gets straight to the point. You are here to play football and take names. Keep it up, Washington football team. You are America's team. Kyle?
America's team. All right. I mean, I'm sure we'll take that. But yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people have latched onto this name and actually think it's really clean and really crisp. I know Ryan Kerrigan was talking about how he liked the name, and there was a lot of people on social media saying that I really like what this name is. I know that, right, it's temporary and we're working to find another name and we're doing all this stuff, but it's nice that the name now it works and people are on board, and I mean, America's team, I'll take it.
I know everybody has their favorites. That's what this website is for, to give your opinions on what you want. I'm kind of with Bryce and with Ryan Kerrigan. I like it. The Washington football team, clean, simple, classic. It's a team mentality. So go to thewashingtonjourney.com to submit your ideas and your thoughts and what you would like your team to be called. All right, so I said, starting the show, we got pads on. You were down there. Give us a recap, Kyle.
Yeah, so I think just first of all, it was great to see the coaches and players back on the field. It's been so long with no off season and you have no mini camps. So just seeing the players in pads on the field, going through drills, it was exciting for us, but it was exciting for them too. Coach Rivera was talking afterwards and said that John Allen came up to him in the middle of practice and said, "How much do you miss it? I know you want to be out there." And he does. And if he could, he would. But he said he's doing the next best thing, which is to coach. And today they got in full pads for the first time. So it was great for everyone, and it was great to finally get back to football.
You know, one of the things Coach Rivera said you will see when you see a practice, and today was the first day the media was able to be out here to see that. He said it was an up-tempo practice. Was it?
Yeah, so it was definitely intense, and there was a lot of hard hitting. It was very physical. It wasn't as up-tempo as Coach Rivera would have liked, and he actually mentioned that after practice to his players about how he needs the urgency to pick up, he needs the tempo to pick up. So if we thought it was fast today, it's going to be a lot faster going forward.
You know, there's a lot of question marks on the different position groups that are out there. Which group looked the strongest to you?
I think, and this might be obvious, but I think it was the defensive line. Just from Montez Sweat to Chase Young, they look really good in individual drills. You had Deron Payne and Matt Ioannidis inside. During teamwork, they both batted down a pass. Montez Sweat totally blew up a screenplay. So this defensive line is the real deal. They showed it today, and it's going to be exciting to see how they mesh going forward.
And as far as maybe a group that you're looking at, you're going, okay, we're going to be a little bit patient. It needs a little more time. That would be.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the wide receivers. And Terry McLaurin and Steven Sims both actually looked very good today. They showed a good rapport with Dwayne Haskins. But just as a whole, the consistency maybe wasn't where the team wanted it to be. And when wide receivers coach Jim Hostler talked to the media, he said that we have Terry McLaurin, but we're not really sure what the depth chart's going to be after that. So I think it's understandable that the wide receiver group still has a ways to go. But as we go through these padded practices, somebody's going to step up. Someone's going to earn that starting job, and it's going to be exciting to see who it is.
You know, Steven Sims Jr. talked to the media afterwards. He said yesterday he thought the defense got the better of them, but he thought the offense came along a little bit better today. But if you were to pick a side of the ball that you would say won the practice, which side would it be?
I think it was close, but I think the defense edged out the offense today. I think the defensive line in the trenches, what they were able to do during team drills, and then the defensive backs looked really solid today, especially Ronald Darby. He had a couple pass breakups one during the team portion of practice, one, I think, during one-on-one. So it was close, and Dwayne definitely had his completions, and Terry made some plays, but I'm going to go with the defense today.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, without the OTAs and minicamps, the defense would come together at a different speed than the offense would. That's going to take some time, so we'll be patient with that. You did mention Haskins Jr. Terry McLaurin said that he noticed during the offseason the ball just comes out differently, but was that noticeable to the naked eye today?
He definitely had a zip on the ball, but I think he always had that. I think really to me, it was more about he looked comfortable in this offense. It didn't look like that he was running this offense for the first time. He seemed like he was getting everyone set. His command of the huddle was good, and then he was in rhythm. And like I said, he had a good rapport with Terry McLaurin and Steven Sims. And afterwards, Ron Rivera said that he did a lot of really good things. And one thing of note is that he's working with the first team offensive line, but he's working with a bunch of different running backs, different receivers, different tight ends, so that he can mesh with all these different players because they don't know who's going to be out there come game one. So I think it was a really promising start for Dwayne Haskins, and it's going to be exciting to see how he progresses.
You're going to see him a good bit with the ones and twos, taking the majority, because it's important to this team and Scott Turner to make sure that he is ready to play. When we come back, our tab is started. We are going to see what is on tap. There are plenty of players on this roster that are saying, don't forget about me. Kyle's going to tell us.
Take me out to the ball game.
Take me out to the couch.
Baseball or football or racquetball. We don't mind, we'll watch any at all.
'Cause it's a root for the home team.
No way, we don't really care.
Oh, no, I care.
'Cause sports are finally back and there's a Bud Light there.
A moment of joy, a source of inspiration, an act of kindness, an old friend, a new beginning, some welcome relief, or a cause for celebration. What's inside? Possibilities. What we deliver by delivering.
This is the front door.
Here's the living room.
The hallway that takes us to
the kitchen.
The bedroom.
Oh, and of course, where we spend most of our time.
The backyard.
It is our virtual happy hour presented by Bud Light Seltzer, and it is time now to start a tab. Well, we start our tab. We're going to see what's on tap. Got to get these right in order, Kyle. Okay, Kyle, you have a little segment here that you're coming out saying, don't forget about me, because there's some players that are garnering a lot of attention early on in camp, but there are others that are saying they're here to compete. Where would you start this list?
So I'm going to start with the wide receivers, and I'm going to go with Cam Sims. So a lot of people were talking about Antonio Gandy-Golden being that big physical receiver, that red zone threat, but don't forget about Cam Sims. He is one of the bigger guys on the roster. He's physical, he can make contested catches, and he stood out in the past 2 training camps. So today he was working with the number 2s, but like I talked about earlier, the wide receivers are really rotating around. So don't forget about Cam Sims. He could really be a guy that emerges and becomes a target for Dwayne Haskins going forward.
I think if he can stay healthy and has his opportunities, hopefully make the most of them and be on the roster. If we're to talk, though, about the running game, a lot of attention to Adrian Peterson, but there's somebody else you don't want us to forget about as well.
Yeah, I think we really can't forget about Peyton Barber. There's so much versatility in this running back groups, but he's a guy who's been solid in his career. He's only missed 1 game over 4 years. He's consistent. I think the last 2 years he's averaged 195 carries, and he has upside too. I mean, it was only a couple of years ago when he rushed for almost 900 yards. So Adrian Peterson is definitely that workhorse, but Peyton Barber, if he needs to be, can be that workhorse too. So don't forget about him.
Yeah, Scott Turner was saying he has a significant role in this offense, and it's going to be running back by committees. So all of the backs will have their opportunities. If we talk about the offensive line, Jaron Christian is somebody that still has room to grow, but you saw him out there with the ones today.
Yeah, he was the starting left tackle today, and you had Wes Martin as the starting guard. You're going to talk to him later. But yeah, Jaron Christian he was a third-round pick in 2018. He was really seen as a developmental guy who, as he adapted to the NFL, he could really become a solid starter. And I think the coaches are still waiting for him to put it all together. And he's really going to have an opportunity to earn that starting job. So it was great to see him out there with the ones today, and it's going to be interesting to see how he progresses going forward.
What about when it comes to the tight end position? I feel like this is kind of wide open.
Yeah, it's definitely wide open, and a lot of people talk about Logan Thomas coming in, and you have Jeremy Sprinkle, but I'm going to go with Richard Rodgers. He's missed most of the past 2 years with injuries, but he's only 28, and he's had the most success out of any tight end on Washington's roster. In 2015, he had almost 60 receptions, 500 yards, 8 touchdowns. So if he can stay healthy, he knows what it means to be a security blanket for a starting quarterback. And if he can stay on the field, he could become that option for Dwayne Haskins.
You know, if we're talking about now the linebacking room, KPL, Kevin Pierre-Louis is a name that keeps coming up that coaches and players alike are saying he has a chance to have a big role here.
Yeah, so he's one of the guys on this list that we say don't forget about him, but he's already been making a name for himself. He was out there with John Bostic today on the starting defense. Rivera has praised him multiple times just in terms of his explosiveness and his ability just to be around the ball. And KPL is a guy who he finally got a chance to start last year in Chicago. And in the final 4 games, he had 28 tackles, an interception, 3 pass breakups. So he's a guy that they're really excited about. And a lot of people talk about Thomas Davis and what he brings to Washington, but Kevin Pierre-Louis seems like he's going to bring a lot too.
And what about Troy Apke? I feel like we talk a lot about his speed. How did it translate today?
Yeah, he was another guy that, along with KPL, maybe you didn't expect to see him with the ones, but he was out there Landon Collins pretty much every period today. And he's another guy that his athleticism, his intelligence, that's really stood out to Rivera. And people kind of just assumed that when they brought Sean Davis in, that he would be the guy starting alongside Landon. But I think Troy Apke has something to say about that. And then a little fun fact about Troy Apke, per Pro Football Focus, he was actually the best rated safety in the NFC East last year. So people might not know much about him, but he can play, and he's showing it on the field right now.
And again, he has that speed. Coaches mentioned that as well. All right, so that is what is on tap. When we come back, we are going to be cheersing to Wes Martin. How did he spend quarantine? Well, he picked up a most interesting hobby, but why? And as well, what did he make of the offensive line being out there going up against the defensive line in pads? Stay here.
The natural light is amazing.
Hardwood floors.
There is a bit of a clogging problem.
At least Geico makes it easy to bundle our renters and car insurance.
Yeah, helping us save even more.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
Take me out to the ball game.
Take me out to the couch.
Baseball or football or racquetball. We don't mind, we'll watch any at all.
'Cause it's root for the home team.
Oh, way, we don't really care.
Oh, no, I care.
'Cause sports are finally back and there's a Bud Light there.
Miracles. What we deliver by delivering.
Each day throughout the week here in our virtual happy hour show, we cheers to one of the players as we are trying to bring training camp to you in your homes. Today, we talked to Wes Martin. He had a most interesting time in quarantine. He managed to get married right before the lockdown began, picked up an interesting hobby. And well, now that it's all about football, at the end of last season, he showed that he deserves a good hard look to be a consistent starter. When Brandon Sheriff went down, Wes Martin stepped in. Here he is chatting with me about how camp is going. Here's cheers to that. First day, you guys were able to get out there with pads on. It's been a slow process kind of getting here with no OTAs, no mini camps. You had the helmets on for a couple days. Kind of what was it like being able to, take it to another level?
Yeah, it was good. There's obviously some rust to knock off. That's a long span of time when you're not in pads. You're not hitting. You're not used to that sort of speed yet. So it felt good, but there was some rust to knock off.
How long does that typically take to get going? And is COVID really kind of impacting the speed of where you would be compared to normal seasons if we weren't living in this pandemic?
I think it really just takes a couple days. Your body gets conditioned to hitting relatively quickly. So it's kind of hard to say where we would be at without all the COVID stuff. But yeah, I think, a couple days in, your body gets adjusted pretty quickly.
You're going up against a defensive line that everybody is very excited to see. Can you tell early on how good they will be?
Yeah, I mean they're really good over there. There's a lot of talent across the board. Interior, the guys on the edge. There's a lot of stud athletes and a lot of really good football players over there.
How does that help you guys, knowing when you do have to get ready for the season without the preseason games, knowing that you are going up with what is projected to be one of the best defensive lines in the league?
Yeah, like you said, we're going to be going against those guys every day. So those are great reps to have, and great. Those are great looks to see for sure. Getting ready for week one.
Anything on Chase Young you can tell us yet?
Not yet. It's a little early.
Literally, okay. We're just so excited to finally get football back. We know you are as well. Last season, you started in 5 games, but you appeared in 9. Tell us kind of where you feel you are now in trying to get that starting spot heading into this season.
Yeah, those games last year, the being able to get in there and get that experience was huge. Just kind of living those moments. That's pretty important. It gets you ready for your years to come. So I'm just taking that and trying to build on it and just doing everything I can to get myself in a good position.
You have a new offensive line coach. Well, a lot of new coaches all across the board, including as well Ron Rivera. They were saying a lot of this is trying to teach technique on Zoom is basically near impossible. So here you're now at walkthroughs trying to learn the technique. What adjustments and kind of have you seen and how that has kind of developed?
Yeah, it's been good. Like you said, it was challenging over Zoom to get certain things figured out, I guess. Some things are just hard to grasp until you're doing it, physically in person. But I think it's gone well. It's gone as good as it possibly could, given the circumstances. And I think we're all just excited to keep pushing forward.
We hear a lot of things on what Scott Turner is bringing to the offense. He wants it fast-paced, up-tempo, guys kind of moving around all over the field. Does that impact, though, you on the line at all, or is it kind of, I guess, the same as what you would expect?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't change things a whole lot. We're still just going to line up every play and just do everything we can to get our jobs done. Sometimes the tempo might be pushed a little bit, but that's nothing that's going to surprise us. It's something we'll be ready for.
If you're to look at where your game is now and kind of what you want to improve on or work on to really kind of, lock in the spot, be that guy that's going to stop those defenses, what would you say? And if coaches told you they want you to focus on?
Yeah, I mean, there's little things here and there, small technique things. That's always going to be the case. There's always little things to fine tune and to get better at. And those things are always going to be there. And I'm just going to keep working to fine tune them.
All right. You won't tell us the details. How about when you were in quarantine? I heard you picked up to be a carpentry? Tell us how that came about.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, there was just a lot of downtime, so we needed something to fill that time. So I was hanging out with Chase Roulier quite a bit. He's been into woodworking for several years now. Him and I just kind of started doing some projects together, and then that was just a really good time filler during the quarantine.
I heard that your wife had wanted a birdhouse. Was that the first thing you built, or what was the first thing, and how did it go?
Yeah, that was the first thing. I think it went pretty well. I got smiles out of it. She wasn't disappointed. So, it was a good first project.
And you recently are married as well. Congratulations. Were you
Thank
a part of the planning process? I know usually the wives want you to be doing something.
Here and there, here and there, I'd jump in. She definitely did the majority of it. I threw my thoughts in there every now and then.
What did you at least get to pick the music for the first dance?
It was a combined decision.
Okay, smart man.
Yeah.
Smart man. Yes, ma'am. Whatever you want, honey. All right. Look, it's exciting to see you guys back out there on the field. Quarantine is still having to be safe, but to be able to see you on the field, the pads on, it's exciting for everybody. What would you say fans could expect this season?
Yeah, I expect a lot of good things. We're still early in the process of things, but there's a lot of good things happening out on the field. And there's just a lot to build upon and a lot of momentum rolling forward.
Thank you, Wes.
Thank you.
Cheers to that. Cheers to Wes Martin and his lovely bride, keeping him in line. I like that. Zach, your biggest takeaway there, especially when you talk about the offensive line. Kyle. With the offensive line getting to, it's just too happy. I'm all over the place here.
So I think Wes Martin, definitely a guy that has a chance to be a part of this offensive line. Like you said, he started in place of Brandon Sheriff last year when Sheriff got injured, and he played really well. And I think the biggest takeaway from Martin's interview, aside from him getting married, that's unbelievable, but football-wise, was definitely about just how they're going to go up against this defensive line every single day. Going up against Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, you can't help but get better. So whoever wins the job at left guard and left tackle, they're going to be better competing against each other and then competing against Washington's defensive line.
So there's good, healthy competition on the left side of the line, but to hear Coach talk, he likes what he sees on the right side.
Yeah, he really does. You have Chase Roulier, Brennan Sheriff, Morgan Moses. They've been working together for the past 3 seasons, and Moses and Sheriff have been working together even longer than that. So it's really big that while there is uncertainty in the left side of the line, that the right side is really solid. And I think that right side can also help out those guys competing for those spots to make sure that the offensive line is the best that they can be.
Okay, well, when we come back, we're going to be closing out, and Kyle's going to be telling us an update on some of the injured players to keep an eye on as camp does continue.
Is the front door.
Here's the living room.
The hallway that takes us to
The kitchen.
The bedroom.
Oh, and of course, where we spend most of our time.
The backyard.
The new house is amazing, so much character.
Original crown molding, walk-in closets.
We do have a rat problem. At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
It does help us save.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
Take me out to the ball game.
Take me out to the couch.
Baseball or football or racquetball, we don't mind, we'll watch any at all.
'Cause it's root for the home team.
Oh, way, we don't really care. Oh, no, I care.
'Cause sports are finally back and there's a Bud Light there.
Kyle, I always hate asking for an injury update, but tell us who we should look out for.
Yeah, but this injury update is positive. So I think we couldn't have gone through this whole show without mentioning Alex Smith. You know, he got activated to the active roster on Sunday. He was out there in full uniform on Tuesday, about 21 months after he suffered an injury that many thought would end his career. And he looked really good today. His footwork was strong. His passes were crisp and accurate. He went through individual drills and then 7-on-7 drills. And while he didn't go through the team portion, he looked really solid. So it's just really amazing to see him out there and what he's been able to accomplish. And now that he's activated, he's pushing. He wants to push this thing even further. He wants to play in a game. I know we talked about it a lot, but seeing him out there today was truly incredible.
You know, I've been hearing for a while that Bryce Love has been looking good. I think it's going to be a matter of can he stay healthy going forward, but he didn't have a brace on. Reuben Foster did. He's been looking, as they said, just dynamic, explosive out there. Should be good contributions should they stay healthy. Thanks for joining us on this virtual happy hour presented by Bud Light Seltzer. For Kyle Stackpole, I'm Julie Donaldson. We will be back here tomorrow. Troy Apke will be joining the show.